Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, I had a new type of video idea. We're going to be trying out a little bit something different. I'm going to be running through, in what my opinion, were the top 5 moves of the LEC offseason. Obviously, this was a crazy offseason for the LEC, for the LCS, for a large number of teams and players, so it was a little bit difficult to just narrow this down to 5 moves. Also, all the rosters aren't even finalized yet, but I think for the most part, most of the big, huge moves that are really going to change the landscape of the LEC are done. So again, I narrowed this down to 5. My 5 is going to be totally different than your 5 and different than everybody else's 5. So if you guys have a move that you think should have made the list or would have changed the order around or whatever, make sure you leave a comment down below because I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about all this. Also, before we get into this, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. With that being said, let's get right into the list. Again, this was hard to narrow it down to 5, so I would for sure have some honorable mentions, maybe some stuff that I'd like to talk about more. So if you guys have those ideas, that is totally understandable. But at number 5, I have the move of Vander going to Misfits. Now, Misfits is a team that I don't think is going to be that great in 2020, so maybe this ultimately won't be that massive of a move. But I think the bot lane of Vander and Kabe together has a chance to really impact the LEC in 2020. I think that bot lane alone, they're going to be very, very fun to watch. I think they're going to be very exciting, and I think they're going to carry some games, and I think they give Misfits some upset potential, even against some of the better teams in LEC. So I think that'll be really interesting to watch, and how kind of this new pairing can be what Misfits builds around for the future, but also in 2021, how they're able to work around this bot lane, play through them, and hopefully win some games, pick up some games, and kind of influence the standings and just the overall landscape of the LEC. Obviously, Vander was a very, very good support last year for Rogue. Rogue was one of the better teams in LEC. They got to play in a lot of big games. They were always really, really hyped up, and Vander was a huge part of it. Again, one of the better supports in the LEC, kind of just that tier right below Hylissang and Mickey X, obviously. But he was really, really good. A lot of people are hyped up for him. A lot of people are excited about him. A lot of people are wondering why Rogue was willing to get rid of him. Obviously, Rogue has Trimby coming in as their new support, who I'm sure they're really excited, really hyped up for. And they were willing enough to move on from Vander, which did shock and surprise people a little bit. Because, again, Vander was a very, very high-performing member last year. It's a very exciting pickup for Misfits fans. They have something to be excited about. They have a new player to build around for the future. And again, we don't know exactly how well he's going to play in a new team and a new system, how well he's going to synergize with his new bot lane partner. But this was still a really big pickup in my opinion, because he could have gone to a bunch of different teams. He ends up at Misfits. That's exciting. This was a really, really big, impactful one. I have it at number 5 on my list. Next up, number 4, we have Broken Blade headed to Schalke. So obviously Broken Blade was kind of kicked out of TSM. It seemed like he still wanted to be there. He posts the middle fingers picture on Instagram, talking about, don't take what you have for granted, stuff like that. So Baby is probably a little bit motivated, a little bit vengeful right now. He wants to prove TSM wrong, that they should have kept him, should have hung on to him. He should come out in 2021 ready to go, guns a-blazing, hopefully looking like the best Broken Blade we've ever seen. And if that's what happens, that's going to be really scary for the LEC. That's going to be really exciting for Schalke fans. Obviously, they lost Oduwamne, so they needed a top laner, and Broken Blade was one of the best guys available. He's coming over from the LCS, where he's had a couple of really, really good years. He's a little inconsistent, a little bit up and down. There's questions about how well he can play tanks, how well he can play weak side. But if you need a strong side carry top laner, if you need a guy to go win you a game, Broken Blade, over in the LCS at least, was one of your best options. LEC top lane is also one of the weaker positions out there. Obviously, most people would consider the league as a whole a significant step up from the LCS, but top lane has not really been the LEC and Europe's strong suit the last couple of years. They have some great top laners, obviously, but the depth in the league is questionable. So it'll be interesting to see how Broken Blade is able to go over to Europe and compete against not only the best top laners in Europe, but just LEC top laners game in and game out. And I think Broken Blade's going to have a good split. I think it's going to be a very, very big pickup. Again, if you're losing Oduwamne, that sucks, obviously, but Broken Blade is a great replacement. I think this is going to be a very, very exciting move. He's an awesome personality, has a great mentality. He's going to be great for branding, great for content, and he is great on the Rift. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to continue to develop, how European solo queue, coaching staff, lifestyle, all that stuff affects him, and maybe he's even able to take another step up in his career. And again, with what we've already seen from Broken Blade in the past, that would be very, very exciting. He has international experience. He's played in the LCS finals. He won an LCS final. This is a great pickup for Schalke. There's reasons to be excited. I have this at number 4. Number 3, we have another top laner. We have Oduamna going to Rogue. And I think this is a very big pickup because Rogue was such a good team last year. They did so well in the LEC. They even were able to make it to Worlds. They did decently at Worlds. But the biggest question mark for them throughout much of the summer split, throughout the summer playoffs, throughout Worlds, was Finn in the top lane. At one point, he was a very, very hyped up prospect, a new young face coming into the LEC. People were excited about him. But he kind of started to drop the ball. He wasn't really ready to be on a team like Rogue, to be competing for LEC titles and to be competing internationally. He was a big question mark. He was a big liability. And now they have a rock solid veteran in Oduamna coming in. And I think he has a chance to take Rogue to the next level. I think this was a very, very big pickup. Again, they had a hole in the top lane. LEC, not a ton of great top laners available. Not a lot of great top laners in general, but especially available. So be able to land a guy like Oduamna was a huge pickup. It filled a hole, it filled a need, and he's a guy that I think is going to fit in with this team really, really well. It'll be exciting to see how improving in the top lane is able to affect Rogue as a whole. What can they do this year? Are they going to compete for that number 2 spot in the LEC? Are they going to be able to do a little bit better at Worlds? Could they make it out of groups at Worlds? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I think this was a really, really big pickup for them. I think it's a great move for Oduamna. He's in a little bit better situation now than he was at Schalke. I think it's a big pickup for Rogue. Obviously, there's a lot to be excited about for all the parties. This should be an interesting one. But obviously, throughout the whole year, there's going to be these comparisons to Broken Blade. So it'll be really, really fun to watch them matching up to see, I have Oduamna ahead of Broken Blade on my list here, partly because I think it's just a bigger pickup for Rogue. But it'll be interesting to see once they go head-to-head who kind of gets the better of this trade. Schalke obviously swapping out Odo for BB. I have this at number 3. Next up, we got number 2. Upset, the new 80 carry for Fnatic. Obviously, one of the biggest stories in the entire LEC offseason, really one of the biggest stories in the offseason in the whole world, was Rekkles leaving Fnatic. Fnatic having a vacancy in the 80 carry position. They had a couple different options. They had a couple different ways to go. There was maybe talks of them potentially wanting to import an 80 carry. They were looking at Crown Shot for a little while. Some people said, oh, maybe they should go after Patrick or Hansama or whoever. But they ended up with Upset, who is a very, very solid 80 carry, and this is a very exciting pickup. Obviously, it sucks to lose Rekkles. One of, if not the best 80 carry in all of the LEC. Losing him is going to be a huge hit to your brand, to your fan base, and to your team on the Rift, to how well your team is able to perform. So getting such a rock-solid replacement for him in Upset, a guy who has that huge pop-off carry potential. He's a veteran who's been around in the scene. He's played on so many different teams, so many different orgs. He's played in big games. He's played on good teams before. And it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do for Fnatic. Obviously, Fnatic has a big change in the mid lane, big change in the bot lane. So how exactly is this team going to gel? How are they going to mesh together? This is a team who is one game away from making it to the semifinals at Worlds last year. And now with 2 big changes, how are they going to do? Upset has huge shoes to fill. There's going to be a ton of pressure on him. He's always going to be having those comparisons to Rekkles. But I think he is someone who can step up and rise to the occasion. Do I think he's necessarily going to be as good as Rekkles? No, but I don't think he necessarily needs to be Rekkles. He just needs to be a good solid 80 carry, do what he's done throughout his whole career, and this can be a big pickup for Fnatic. He can have them as solidly the second best team in the LEC, a team that has a chance to make it out of groups at Worlds again and be a very, very successful team in 2021. Again, losing Rekkles is always going to be tough for any team to lose a player of that kind of magnitude and caliber, but this was a huge pickup for Fnatic, being able to replace him with somebody so solid. And yeah, I think it'll be exciting. I have it as number 2. Number 1, no surprise here. The biggest move of the LEC offseason, at least in my opinion, was Rekkles heading to G2. This was crazy. There was a ton of back and forth. Some fans saying there's no way he would ever leave. He's not going to leave. You're an idiot if you think he's going to G2. There's no way they're going to be able to get this done. But again, Rekkles was a free agent. His contract was up. He could go anywhere he wanted. He can do whatever he wanted. And he's talked about that playing with a team like G2, having that opportunity, having that opening, it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because if they offer you this year, you say no, that opportunity is not going to come back again. This is one of the most talented lineups in LEC history. It might be the most talented lineup we see in the distant future for the LEC. Europe has a real chance to go to World and to do significant damage. They're going to be one of the favorites to win the World Championship in the entire world, picking up Rekkles now. We know Rekkles is very driven, very determined, very competitive. He wants to succeed. He wants to win Worlds. That's his life goal. That's his promise to fans. And yes, for a lot of people, it was a very unpopular decision for him to leave Fnatic. Fnatic fans are going to be mad. They're going to be jaded. They're going to be upset at Rekkles. They're going to hate him. They're going to hate G2. But for him personally, if all he wanted to do was win, it's undoubtedly that G2 is a better situation right now to compete for a world championship than Fnatic. Again, it'll be interesting to see how he fits with a new bot lane partner, with a new team, a new organization. There's going to be a ton of pressure on them. People want G2 to succeed, and a ton of people really want them to fail. They're going to have a ton of haters. They're going to have a ton of criticism, and if they don't perform, they're going to get memed on. They're going to get destroyed by the community. But again, I think anything short of a World Finals appearance is going to be a disappointment for this team. They're absolutely stacked at every position, and in my opinion, the best roster that the Western League of Legends world has ever seen. It's debatable that the 2018 G2 team, or I guess the 2019 G2 Worlds team, had a better chance to win Worlds. But I think if this team peaks together in the right meta at the right time, depending on how the other Chinese and Korean teams come together, I know FPX is kind of rumored to maybe be forming a super team as well. I think this could be really, really exciting. This is the best AD carry in the LEC going to the best team who had a void in the AD carry position, obviously with Perks leaving, wanting to play mid lane again. And I think this is undoubtedly the #1 move in the LEC offseason. I don't really think you could argue much otherwise. But that is it, guys. That is my list of the top 5 moves of the LEC offseason. Again, I want to hear, what do you guys think I got wrong? What do you think I got right? How would you change the order around? Would you put somebody else in? I know there was definitely some other moves I considered because, again, there was just a ton going on in the LEC offseason this year. It was a really, really crazy one. If you guys like this type of video, if you guys did enjoy this, I can do this for some other leagues. I want to do it for the LCS as well. But, again, we're trying out a new format, new video style. I don't know how well it's going to do. We'll see. I would love your guys' feedback on that. But if you did enjoy it, make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to stay updated on my latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_Germ. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.